Mining may well have been the second of humankind's earliest endeavors, granted that agriculture was the first. The two industries ranked together as the primary or basic industries of early civilization. Little has changed in the importance of these industries since the beginning of civilization. If we consider fishing and lumbering as part of agriculture and oil and gas production as part of mining, then agriculture and mining continues to supply all the basic resources used by modern civilization.
According to Mines and Geosciences Bureau or the MGB, 30 million hectares of land areas in the Philippines are possible areas where metallic materials can be found or extracted. 9 million hectares of land have high mineral potential in the Philippines.
The history of mining in the pre-colonial period. Mining has been a regular activity for the natives. They traded gold with other Asian countries like China, Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, India, and Indonesia. In the colonial period, Spaniards weren't able to make mining an industry because of the resistance by the Igorots. In 1837, Royal Decree established the Inspection General de Manila to administer mining activities. In 1864, the Panto mine was built and is the first full-scale mining operation.
In 1990, the Philippine Mining Bureau was formed. In 1907, the Benguet mine was built. After this, mining turned to be commercial. During the World War II, mines were destroyed and damaged. After the World War II, mines were reconstructed and rehabilitated. A new type of mining emerged, like open pit mining.
During the Marcos period, early 80s, mining suffered a market crash. With this was the implementation of the small-scale mining law, which regulated mine workers during the start of gold smuggling and environment degradation.
Philippine Mining Act of 1995 allowed foreigners to operate mining companies in the country. In January 2004, the Philippine Mining Act was nullified and brought back on December 2004. The mining tax was at 2% and during Aquino period, mining revenues were drafted to increase.
There are over 200,000 workers in the mining industry. In 2016, the contribution of mining to country's GDP is at 0.6%. It has also declined for the last 2 years from 2014 to 2016. And as of September 2016, there are a total of 40 metallic mines, 62 non-metallic mines, and 1,473 pending mining applications in the country.
Hi sir, can you hear me?
Hi Kitty, yeah, I can hear you. Can you see me?
Okay. So, for the first question, what is mining for you?
What is mining? On a geological and scientific perspective, mining is a set of processes that we do for us to be able to gather the resources of our non-metallic or even some of your energy sources. So mining is not just one process. It's actually a set of processes starting from exploration up to rehabilitation. And it's the only method that we can use to be able to gather the resources of our planet that cannot be planted.
Okay. For the next question,
Okay.
what is vital or important for the survival of why is mining vital or important for the survival of a society?
It's vital for the survival of the society because it's the only way for us to be able to gather geological resources in the form of metal and, as I have mentioned a while ago, some of the sources of energy. So without mining, we cannot expect to have resources coming from the surface of our planet that are non-living.
Okay. Next, what are the different applications of mining in our daily lives?
There are actually a lot. We might not be able to notice it, but from the moment we wake up to the moment that we sleep, it has actually a lot of connections to mining. From the food that we eat, from the spices, some of the spices that we use, or some of the additives that we use in food, some of them actually came from mining. In food, since we're talking about eating, you cook food using your pots that are usually made of metals. Your utensils are usually made of metals. Salt is a mineral. You can actually get it from mining. Even the toothpaste that you use in brushing your teeth, it came from mining. So other than the obvious resources or obvious things that we get from mining, such as your gadgets, your electric supplies, those are impossible without mining.
Okay. Next, in your perspective, is mining more advantageous or disadvantageous in our society, and why?
I think it can be both. We should remember that in mining, yes, there is responsible mining, but we have to admit that there is also irresponsible mining. So for responsible mining, it really is advantageous because we are able to take care of our environment at the same time getting enough resources at an economic value for us to be able to earn and to use it wisely. But also there is irresponsible mining, and I think that's the disadvantageous part to the society. So we should be mindful on how to classify the mining activities that we are concerned. Is it responsible? If yes, then it's advantageous. If it's irresponsible, then it's disadvantageous.
Okay. Number four. What is number five? Why do why does the generation today rely so much on what the mining industry gives us today?
It's because of the advent of technology. If you will notice from the earlier times, technology suddenly boomed. It's because mining also boomed. We were able to determine a lot more methods to be able to extract resources from our planet, and such we are able to produce more metals. And those metals enabled technology to actually progress. And you know that in our generation nowadays, we are very much dependent on technology, on your gadgets, on electricity, on the internet, and a lot more. It's part of modern society, and it will not be possible if not for mining.
Okay. For number six, out of the issues, deforestation, release of toxic chemicals into soil and water, explosives causing unexpected rockfall, and soil erosion, what do you think impact the society most, and why?
Um, this is actually quite a difficult question because all of those, deforestation and release of toxic chemical into soil and water, sometimes really happen. If you're gonna ask me which has the most impact to society, I would say it's deforestation because it affects a large scale area, and mining usually entails deforestation. Release of toxic chemicals, yes, sometimes it happens, but rarely because nowadays we have technology to prevent that. But deforestation is inevitable when we talk about mining. But even though deforestation happens, may disclaimer tayo dyan, we should always know that it does not necessarily mean that you cannot bring back the environment close to its original state. So even though deforestation happens, we can still plant trees. And that's part of the mining process. That is what you call rehabilitation. If I may just add, I think the more common problem that we face nowadays, especially here in the local setting in the Philippines, is when there are indigenous people affected by mining activities. You know that mining, or most of us should know that mining is usually found in your remote areas, places that are not much civilized and are only occupied by your IPs. Now, a lot of issues have surfaced with regards to ancestral domains, and I think that impacts the society more because your IPs are the people or the communities that are less cared of. Again, because they are remote. They are far from the metros of each place of each province. The explosives causing unexpected rockfall, it rarely happens. so I don't think it has much impact because the explosives that we use for mining, for example, the one that we use in my previous company, is not really enough to cause a major rockfall that would affect the community. During explosion, we make sure that we are far from the community and there's no one close to be affected. Soil erosion, yes, it can happen, but it depends on the type of mining. So I guess among your choices, deforestation impacts the society the most. Based on my experience, I guess it would really help if we continue to develop and explore more technologies and methods to minimize the negative effects of mining. We should be able to know that hiring scientists, good scientists and engineers is actually vital for the success of a mining company as well as to alleviate or at least to minimize the negative effects of mining. Also, I think for us to be able to improve the mining state here in our country, we should clarify all the negative misconceptions about mining. Because when you hear the word mining, for most people, they would automatically think that it's evil. No. Yes, we have irresponsible mining, but we should be critical, and we should know that there is also responsible mining. So it comes from different parts of the society. It's not just the scientists. Humanities can also do a lot of help because they can explain better on how mining benefits the society. So it's a cooperation of all members of the society to be able to minimize the negative effects of mining. Yes, if you're willing to go back to civilizations that appeared before the Stone Age. If you want modern living, if you want sustainable modern living, mining is important. If you want to not have mining at all, then go. Sure. But be ready of the consequences, be ready of the difficulties that you might face. Because mining, especially nowadays, is vital for the society, not just because we need it, but also because we cannot progress without it.
Okay, number 9. How does mining help us with technology?
Without mining, we cannot have any technology. Especially nowadays, the technology is very much metal dependent. So how will you be able to build up your gadgets, your infrastructure without mining? I think it's technically impossible.
Okay, last question. How can we relate mining in the different fields of science?
Since mining is a set of processes, on a scientific perspective, it does not just relate geologists like me. We also need the help of engineers to be able to make sure that the safety of all those working in the mining area and even in those living in the surrounding areas, they are safe. That's the job of your engineers. Of course, you also have your chemists because they're the ones, your chemists and metallurgists, they know the methods on how to efficiently gather your metals. Even your physicists and other scientists, they can do a lot to help improve mining. Each of their own expertise can contribute a better method to improve the processes that we have now in mining.